Hello everyone and welcome to the third day of our forum. Hope you had a nice, lovely evening yesterday and you are well rested today with us in this morning. This is our first panel session today, which we are going to start with a video message again from young people, and then I'm going to be moderating the session with our lovely panelists this morning. And another reminder, if you don't speak Russian, you are kindly asked to get a headset for translation. Yeah, the channel 1 is for translation to English, channel 2 is to Russian, and 3 to Albanian. Okay, so let's see the video message from the young participants.
Hi, my name is Manija. I'm 17 years old and I'm volunteer of Y4H Tajikistan.
Hello, I'm Sara Poreda from Y4H Albania.
I'm Romeo Rabia, I'm 19 years old and I'm a volunteer from Y4H Albania.
Hi everyone, my name is Nataj and I'm from Worm, Turkmenistan, Ashgabat.
There are a lot of topics that should be discussed in schools more, one of them being generally sexual and reproductive health and the rights of young people.
Școala joacă un rol extrem de important în informarea noastră ca tineri la capitolul dezvoltare sexuală și reproductivă prin intermediul unor profesori calificați, prin intermediul obiectului modul sănătos de viață și de asemenea prin intermediul diferitor activități extrașcolare.
I think these professionals should also be considering culture appropriateness and diversity. Diversity of gender, sexuality, diversity of nationality, and diversity overall.
Sexual and reproductive health issues shouldn't be learned about from various bits and pieces of information of questionable credibility on the internet. They should be taught about in schools by professionals in the field through courses included in the curriculum, as well as workshops and group discussions led by fellow peers or older students to whom children can relate to, creating a safe space where they can share their doubts and have their questions answered.
Sexual and reproductive health and rights are very important for all the children and students in the modern world.
Schools have an important influence on the formation of personality and behavior of adolescents. In many schools, teachers try not to touch on this topic. And as we know, in some countries, this topic is taboo. It would be better to include such subjects in school classes with qualified teachers with whom teenagers can freely talk on this topic.
Because schools is a source of education for most of the world's children.
Școala are un rol extrem de mare în educarea tinerei generații la capitolul sănătate sexuală și reproductivă. Acest lucru poate fi obținut doar prin diferite activități și, desigur, disciplina decizii pentru un mod sănătos de viață.
Young people can contribute to national and local policy and decision-making process by simply changing their mindset and start saying, yes, I can. Yes, I can make a change in the world.
Care oferă posibilitatea tinerilor de a se implica, însă și aici totul vine din interior. Trebuie să ai tendința, curajul, trebuie să-ți dai interesul să participi, pentru că ce predă un tânăr pentru tânăr este mult mai bine înțeles, mult mai deschis și mult mai accesibil.
When there is a concern on a local or national level, youth should be considered as a key partner in resolving those issues. Youth, with their innovative style of thinking, new ideas, and bright energy, they can resolve many issues when they come together.
By being active, raising their voice, and also participating in local youth councils with their concerns and opinions.
Tinerii se pot ajuta între ei prin discuții, în primul rând, iar în cazul în care există o rețea, cum ar fi rețeaua educatorilor de la egal la egal, care transmite informația către elevi, aceștia pot contribui la dezvoltarea sa personală, atât a rețelei cât și a vieții sale personale.
Young people can empower each other and support health promotion programs with an open mind, toleration, and non-discriminatory behavior.
Deci, cum aș fi eu implicată într-un proiect ca să transmit idei, valori prietenilor mei, iar prietenii mei să transmită prietenilor lor. Astfel se va transmite un mesaj, desigur că un mesaj clar, un mesaj corect, care va implica tinerii și va deschide noi orizonturi pentru fiecare.
By giving good knowledge, by giving resources, promoting trustful information.
Young people can talk about the importance of health and with the help of short films, social networks and workshops present the importance of health to another young people in an interesting way.
Thank you for that, and I think you might have guessed what is our panel about this morning. We are going to talk about sexual and reproductive health rights. And, you know, as children transition to adulthood and adolescence, they need to have appropriate care. They need to have age appropriately addressed their needs according to their ever-evolving capacities. So we will explore this from several points of view, several aspects. We have different perspectives in the room. So we're going to hear from local municipality, from government policies, and experience of young people, of course, that are present on our stage. Now our panel is full, and we are going to answer very simple questions. But those questions, if you don't mind, dear panelists, first I would like to ask them to the audience, okay? So this is a little morning exercise to get fit as well. These are yes/no questions I'm going to ask you, and if you think yes, then I will ask you to stand up, you know? This is an offline Mentimeter that we do in the room right here. So the first question for that, and I think this is going to appear also in Albanian and in Russian on the PPT, thank you. So, adolescent and youth-friendly services, do they exist in your country? If you think yes, or if you know about them, please stand up. Yeah? Okay. Half standing? But there are many people standing. That's more than half of the room, I see. Maybe 2/3. Thank you so much. And those who are sitting, yeah, we are sorry. And we're going to hear about that, yeah? We have 2 roaming microphones, so you can think already whether you will have questions to what our panelists say, because there will be a chance for you to ask your questions at the end. So about 2/3 of the room thinks that there are, or they know about adolescent and youth-friendly services in their country, yeah? And another question, again, stand up or sit down, if they do, so I'm asking the 2/3 right now, do they function? If yes, then please stand up. Are they functional? Okay, I see a couple of people making these movements, also part of the morning exercise, meaning like they are not totally happy with it, but they are there. Okay, that's, let's say, half of the people who were standing up on the first question, yeah? So thank you very much for expressing your opinion and stretching yourself. And these are actually the same questions I'm going to ask to our panelists. So the question to you as well is adolescent and youth-friendly services. Do they exist in your city or country? And if they do, how do they function and how? What's your experience with them? We are going to go in, you know, whoever would like to answer is happy to, I'm happy to ask them first. Anybody who would like to answer? Yeah, Kairat. So first we will hear from Kairat Balduimov. I hope I pronounced your name right. He's the chair of the Youth and Family Affairs Committee on the Information and Social Development Ministry of Kazakhstan. And please get your headphones ready, because he's going to speak in Russian. So you got the questions, Kairat, and people are ready to hear you in the room now. I'm also going to put this microphone on. Yeah. Go ahead.
Спасибо большое. Я в первую очередь хотел поблагодарить организаторов и руководство Албании и власти города Тирана за приглашение и за возможность выступить на международном форуме сегодняшнем. Касательно вашего вопроса, да, мы с 2020 года институционализировали вопросы поддержки молодежи и именно здоровья молодежи. В нашей стране функционирует 128 молодежных центров здоровья, которые мы совместно с фондом ООН в области народонаселения внедрили по всей стране, разработали методические рекомендации, правила их функционирования, и они, главной их целью является как раз-таки продвижение здорового образа жизни, вопросы репродуктивного здоровья, сексуального здоровья. В целом, вот, как бы такая работа у нас в стране проводится. Помимо этого, мы снизили возраст молодежи, которые могут обращаться в молодежные центры здоровья с 16 лет без согласия родителей. Все услуги у нас проводятся конфиденциально. То есть в эти молодежные центры здоровья молодые люди могут ходить там с отдельного входа. То есть врачи, которые там работают, это в основном гинекологи, урологи. Они специально прошли тренинги, семинары, обучение, как правильно работать с молодежью, чтобы их не дискриминировать, чтобы не испугать молодежь, и чтобы молодежь могла пользоваться этими услугами. Спасибо большое.
Thank you very much, Kairat. There seemed to be quite an evolved approach to these services. I wonder whether you have any type of feedback from young people. Do you somehow hear from them whether they use these services and whether they're appropriate to their needs? Is there any way to know?
Да, мы ежегодно проводим исследования, то есть ежегодно мы публикуем национальный доклад «Молодежь Казахстана», который вносим главе государства. И в рамках данного исследования мы проводим как раз-таки такой скрининг, вопросы среди молодежи, насколько нужны молодежные центры здоровья, насколько они востребованы и удовлетворена ли молодежь данными услугами. И по данным исследований у нас процентов 90 молодежи, во-первых, пользуются этими услугами в зависимости от потребностей, а во-вторых, удовлетворены именно деятельностью молодежных центров здоровья. Кроме того, вот буквально вчера в Нижней палате парламента был принят закон о государственной молодежной политике, в рамках которого мы объединяем молодежные центры здоровья с молодежными ресурсными центрами. Их у нас 228. И теперь молодежные ресурсные центры и молодежные центры здоровья, они будут консолидировать усилия по продвижению здорового образа жизни, профилактике сексуального здоровья, профилактике ВИЧ, СПИДа, и профилактике наркомании и так далее.
Thank you very much. It's very good to hear about all these new approaches. Thank you. And next, maybe can we hear from a young person on the stage? Gunta. Yeah. So we have Gunta Annagaldieva, if I'm pronouncing it well, from Y4H from Turkmenistan. The questions are the same to you. Yes, please, you can turn it on and then don't forget to turn it off. Yes, perfect.
Thank you very much. Qarashsiz, baaqi betaraf Turkmenistandan hemangida salam. Thank you very much. And first of all, I would like to thank that there is a beautiful representation of young people from Central Asia at such international and crucial forum. Thank you very much for inviting. My name is Guncham from Turkmenistan, one of the Y4H international coordinators. And in regards with Turkmenistan case, I'm telling from this subjective side what I have practiced as a young person. Like in Turkmenistan, we have the youth-friendly services in terms of SRHR, and any young person could get the free services from the doctors, and they cannot even, like without even the parent consent, they can come to the hospitals and ask the consultation. However, if it's related to the surgery or any other operation, the doctors cannot do anything without the parent's consent. It's about the adolescent young person. In addition, in Turkmenistan, we also have really nice working initiative, which was initiated by the government of Turkmenistan with the UNFPA of Turkmenistan. It's called the Trust Call Hotline Call, and it also touches the topics of SRHR, the GBV, so women and girls and any citizens of Turkmenistan could call and ask and be provided with the mental support and with the technical support where he or she could get the information about their health. We have also the youth-friendly services and youth centers, as it was mentioned by the Mr. Kairat Baymudinov. Like we have this similar policy, and we also, Turkmenistan provides the national report. And I would say from my perspective as a young person, I was raised as a volunteer with the support of UNFPA, and I've seen that the government, Minister of Public Health and Minister of Education, UNFPA is the major agencies which works for the development of access, for the free access to SRHR in Turkmenistan.
So you see the effort of cooperation among these bodies?
Of course, I do see, and I could say that my peers, myself, and we are I would use this word, we are the result of their work, that we started to educate my peers, because we have passed these trainings by UNFPA, because we are the one who are at these youth centers. And there is effort, not directly by adults, but they're delegating young people to provide this information and access.
Thank you very much for sharing. I'm happy that it's again such a positive experience on your side. Okay, thank you. And then, yes, I can ask Aslan and then Anisa. So we have first Aslan Termikanov, again YPeer, but from Kazakhstan. Let's hear from your experiences.
Thank you so much. Mr. Kairat before was mentioning from the perspective of our government. So I would like to tell about these youth-friendly services in our country from perspective of young people. So we do actually really have those centers, and it's really nice because there are specialists, the medical specialists like gynecologists, urologists, and venerologists, who can not only help and give the medical services, but at the same time to give consultation and inform young people who come to these places for their needs. And I think it's very important to note that in our country recently we lowered the age of the young people who can come without their parents from 18 to 16, which we think this is a great step, making it more friendly and accessible for our young people. And of course, as a young person, as my fellow young friends, of course, we think that and we hope in the future this age will be even lower, because we know that in our country or other post-Soviet Union countries, the age when young people start talking about sex and they have their first experiences around 15, 16 years, so even lower than 16. So that's why I think it's very crucial to make it even more accessible and friendly. And talking about the friendly, we use this word a lot, but I want to say what it means in those centers. The first thing is that the design of the centers, as far as I know, in most of those centers were made and created with the help of the young people. So even the decoration, everything was made by the consultation of young people to make it comfortable, safe for young people to feel okay when they are in those places. And also they have in some of the centers, but not all, they have the different, let's say, doors. So which gives for some young people opportunity to go with the back door, let's say, so they don't need to show themselves and their neighbors or friends can not see them. So it gives also the confidentiality for them. So I think we're, and also as a YPeer, Kazakhstan, our volunteers volunteers work very good with those centers. We have collaboration and some projects where they involve us in the spreading the information, because even though they are specialists with medical knowledge and background, they don't know sometimes how to deliver correctly the information to young people, how to speak to them, to be their peers. So sometimes we give them consultations and help, but at the same time, sometimes we are the tools that they use, of course, with the corporation, to spread those information they want to give the young people. So yeah, of course, there will be some maybe, let's say, difficulties implementing some stuff and working, but in general, I think it's a good and a positive movement, and I think it will be even better in the future, hopefully. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Aslan. Good to hear you're all very optimistic about this topic. And I heard about 3 things so far that seem to be very important. One is confidentiality, yeah, that you mentioned right now. Then another thing is not needing consent from your parent to go there, yeah. And the third, also very important that you have mentioned just now, Aslan, is about attitude of the doctors, the medical, the services. How are they provided to young people? The space, but also the people who are attending to these young people. Yeah?
So, yeah, I mean, it's really important that they know how to speak and how to contact with the young people. And about the attitude, as far as I know, the UNFPA in our country is doing a great job consulting and teaching them in different modules and courses, so they can know how to talk to them and interact. Because, for example, we say that the age of them able to come to there without parents is 16, but sometimes young people come at 15. So in these cases, they know how to correctly talk to them and not make them afraid, but also inform their parents at the same time. So they know how to balance those moments.
Okay, thank you very much for the add-on. The key here seems to be to make young people feel safe, right? Yeah. And now let's hear from Mrs. Anissa Subashi. Yeah, thank you.
Can I speak in Albania?
Yes, you can, but please turn on. Can you turn on your microphone, though? Yes, but the microphone needs to be turned on. No.
It's okay for you if I speak in Albania? Because I want that some of you learn some words. Okay, unë jam Anissa Subashi, jam shumë e lumtur që jam këtu, sepse kam qenë një uaj pire në kohën time. Kam vetëm anglisht. Për herë të parë, kur është diskutuar për shëndetin riprodhues dhe për shëndetin seksual, për metodat e planifikimit familjar, për infeksionet seksualisht të transmetueshme, ishte shumë tabu. UNFPA-ja në atë kohë ngriti grupin e parë të edukatorëve bashkëmoshatar. Ishin shumë pak, 3 veta, po flas në vitin 2000 e pak. Dhe në atë kohë të rinjt e kishin shumë të vështirë të diskutonin për shëndetin seksual dhe riprodhues. Dhe kjo ishte ajo që mua më bëri që në 2010 unë të mbroj doktoraturën përsa i përket reproductive health dhe ndryshimit që kanë të rinjt përsa i përket njohurive, qëndrimeve dhe sjelljeve, duke u bazuar shumë tek pjesa e infeksioneve seksualisht të transmetueshme, duke u fokusuar shumë tek pjesa e HIV-AIDS-it, përdoruesve të drogës dhe të gjithë problematikave që kanë të rinjt. Çfarë ndodh në Shqipëri? Nisi me një vrull jashtëzakonisht shumë të madh. Patëm trajnimet e para janë trajnuar ndoshta mbi 300 të rinj për shëndetin riprodhues. Metodat e edukatorëve bashkëmoshatar, pra Y4H, si një lloj metode ka qenë shumë efikas. Pati një lloj shkëputje dhe unë mendoj që edukimi për shëndetin riprodhues dhe të drejtat që duhet të kenë të rinjt duhet të jetë një edukim i vazhdueshëm ndër vite, sepse vitet dhe të rinj të rriten shumë shpejt. Dhe kjo bën që shpesh herë të kemi një hapësirë boshe apo një gap midis brezave, të cilët i kemi disa të informuar dhe disa jo shumë të informuar. Ne kemi vetëm një qendër rinore në Tiranë, po themi në Bashkinë Tiranë, ndërsa pjesën tjetër të Youth Friendly Service ne kemi pothuajse në pjesën më të madhe që drejtohet nga organizatat jo qeveritare. UNFPA-ja me rrjetin e edukatorëve bashkëmoshatar, Andi që është këtu prezent, kanë bërë një punë jashtëzakonisht shumë të madhe për ta mbajtur gjallë gjithë pjesën e rrjetit dhe gjithë pjesën e organizatave që kanë në fokus shërbimet miqësore për të rinjt. Por patjetër që ne si bashki dhe një si person që e kam dhe shumë për zemër çështjen në fjalë, kemi bërë një commitment me Organizatën Botërore të Shëndetit për ta përfshirë shëndetin riprodhues në të 6 qendrat komunitare që ne kemi. Bashkia Tiranë ka 6 qendra komunitare ku vinë të rinjt, të moshuarit, njerëzit në situatë rruge, pra të gjithë kategoritë që kanë nevojë, por ne nuk kemi një hapësirë specifike ku ne mund t'japim shërbime për të rinjt për shëndetin riprodhues. Kështu që me këtë commitment që ne kemi bërë dhe me ndoshta dhe me ndihmën pse jo të UNFPA-s, pse jo të organizatave të tjera ndërkombëtare që e kanë në fokus shëndetin riprodhues dhe patjetër me buxhetin e bashkisë, ne ta japim këtë shërbim edhe në 6 qendrat tona komunitare. Dhe ky është një ndoshta premtim që ne bëjmë për ta realizuar dhe pse jo për ta përfshirë dhe për ta zgjeruar në të 27 njësitë administrative që ka Bashkia Tiranë. Ndoshta do diskutojmë dhe do flasim përsëri, por ky është thjesht fillimi për të thënë që ka shumë punë për të bërë, ekzistojnë youth friendly service, por jo në atë masë sa ne dëshirojmë të kemi.
I have so many questions, but I'm so sure that in the audience we also have some. So I just want to give the floor first to our panelists, to our other panelists, and then we are going to come back to questions. So thank you very much for sharing. You heard from Anissa, who is the Director General of the Social Services at Tirana Municipality. I didn't have a chance to say that before. So now let's hear from Alice Brito, who is from International Parenthood Federation from Portugal, and she's a non-binary person at the steering committee of Y4H. Can you share about your experiences, please?
First, I would like to say that I use they, their pronouns. So basically, I'm going to talk about regional aspects, so not Portugal in terms of what services are taking place. But there are quite a few, regionally speaking, there are quite a few projects and initiatives going on right now, and for a while, that are by and for young people. And keyword being by young people, and that's on meaningful engagement and meaningful participation. And so, to be very short, Y4H basically helps the further development of initiatives that are created by young people in their member associations. And this is, of course, in partnership with IPPF as well. So there are quite a few things and services and resources that young people are creating within Central Asia and Europe. And a very good example of this is very practical toolkits that young people from member associations in countries of Central Asia and Europe created in partnership that are able to use them in their member associations in whatever projects they decide to use them in. So its services are very important, but creating the resources to actually feed those services is a key note. But the thing that I would like to focus most is not in only what services there are regionally, it's on do they work? Who are they getting to? Are they accessible? Are they inclusive? Services can exist and they can do nothing if they are not proven to be efficient for young people. So who's having access to these is one of the most important things that we should be discussing. When COVID first hit, sexual education and sexual health and rights services were the first to be shut down, and we know this by a very comprehensive study by Youth Voices, Youth Choices. And so we must look at this in a very realistic way and understand that sexual education, in specific, and comprehensive sexual education, is a target of everything when emergencies hit. We need to start creating services. We need to start enabling services that are able to respond to emergencies, but also day-to-day life in a way that actually represents what young people need for their futures, for their presents, for their futures, for the futures of their peers. And we're currently living through quite a few things. The most recent one, pandemics, yes. We're living through monkeypox. We need comprehensive sexual education to not make the same mistakes as society did with HIV. We need sexual education to provide access to safe information, yes, but also how to destigmatize it, how to normalize it, how to grow up in a world, well, this is going to happen. And we can't connect certain epidemics with certain sexual orientations, for example. We need to start treating this as a very pressing issue because it's going to happen more. Like the data, the climate change data shows us that. So we need systems, we need services that actually help young people normalize that and being able to grow up without that stigma. Then, in another sphere, more and more we're seeing young people engaging in sex work. We need sexual education to provide information for this. We need young people to be aware of their rights, to be aware of how they can navigate these contexts in a safe, healthy way. They need to have their rights installed independently of countries, laws, and all those bureaucratic notions. So, yes, these contexts, there are so many new contexts every day that appear in society. Our services need to respond to that. And it's not only about creating them, it's not only about having them, it's constantly updating them. Because in emergencies, we're not going to be creating a whole new organization. In the middle of COVID, for example, we didn't. That was not a possibility. So we need to make sure that we're analyzing who we are accessing and who's having access to us. We need to know who we are including or excluding, and keep updating, keep getting better to respond to those needs throughout our lives. And yeah, that's basically it. We need to look past preconceived notions of what services and sexual and reproductive health and services are, and start actually understanding that young people evolve throughout the years, like throughout decades. So yes, having those services, very important. Updating those services, even more. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alice, for broadening the topic, so adding sexual education and kind of prevention into the comprehensive sexual education and prevention to the topic. And time is pressing us, but I would still love to give the floor for questions. Yes, here we have one. Can you maybe introduce yourself and then...
Yes, hello everyone. I'm Ludmila Sirbu, program analyst on youth from UNFPA Moldova country office. Honestly, I'm very impressed by good discussions and deep discussions all these 3 days. And we speak a lot about young people health and well-being overall, and today we put a special focus on sexual and reproductive health and how young people can be meaningfully engaged. But for me, we are speaking about the services and health system, which in fact already addresses the consequences of the risky behaviors, unhealthy behaviors. But we have data that shows that we have to put more efforts on prevention programs. And who, if not education system, is the right place to teach our young generation how to become healthy, how to adopt healthy behaviors, including sexual and reproductive health behaviors, but also teach them to become active citizens through civic education, through sexuality education in schools. So I would highlight that we're missing here in all our partnerships at national and local levels a very, very critical partner. Guess who? Education system. We cannot do anything without having only partially partners on the board. In this case, we have young people, we have health system, but we miss education system. And every time we reiterate messages that we need in schools education on sexuality education, we need civic engagement education, and we speak for them without having them around our table. So my message is, let's engage education for our further actions as a strong and very critical partner. This we do at the country level, and we see results. We cannot do anything without them because we have to give access to young people, both access to education and information, but also services. Only going hand in hand, we can see behavior changes. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your comment. Thank you. All in for cooperation, I guess. Anybody else with a question, maybe to our panelists or to the topic? Yes, over there, please.
Hi, my name is Delphi. I'm from the Albert Kennedy Trust in the UK. My pronouns are she and they as well. And I'm a question for everyone, following on from what Alicia said about what are your organisations doing for LGBT youth, specifically transgender and gender diverse youth, and what more can you be doing?
Okay, anybody who would like to answer? Guncha, go ahead.
Thank you for the question. As I have mentioned before, I'm one of the Y4H international coordinators, and Y4H, it's International Youth Network, which has its national networks in Asia Pacific, North Africa, Eastern Europe, and Central Asia. And considering the country, the culture, if there is an issue or if there are some problems with LGBT plus Y community, Y4H volunteers, they provide sessions, and moreover, there were Y4H international coordinators who represented LGBT community. So it's a part, this theme, it's a part of Y4H mandate and constitution. We work as peer educators on SRHR, gender equality, GBV, and as well as the LGBT community. We have, like, the detailed information you can find on our social medias. It's Y4H official and other things. Like, it's written the whole history. How do we work in details? Am I clear now?
Thank you. Thank you. First Aslan and then Alice.
I just also wanted to add that, for example, Guncha was saying correctly about the national needs. For example, in our country, we also do these session trainings. And because in our country, many people don't even understand the basics, like what's the difference between sex, gender, and sexuality, for example. So in our country, as a YPrians, we spread the information about those basic things so they can have the understanding of it. And then also we talk about behavior, about respecting each other, and we try to give this information so people can live in peace and respect each other and know their at least pronouns and how to address to them correctly.
Thank you. Alice?
Yeah, my answer to this question is not enough. So as we work as a network, IPPF and YSAFE, we do have a very, very large sum of queer people as YSAFE volunteers. So that's, I wouldn't say it's almost a majority. That's how it is. Also sex workers. But even though they work independently in their own member associations, so we give the resources and then they do with them what they will, let's say it like that, the answer is not enough, and that's because of a multitude of reasons. Yes, as we are almost all aware, and it is tough, let's call it, to broaden these aspects in some countries, and that's something that as SRHR advocates we are aware of. The answer is still not enough because we have to be doing more. we have to be doing more, especially with trans identities. It is the most at-risk youths, or one of the most at-risk youths that we have. The data shows us that. So yes, there are a lot of youth groups in several countries in Central Asia and Europe that are doing very good work on trans identities, trans rights, and LGBTQ plus rights. But we also need to be doing that as organizations and associations.
Thank you very much for sharing, Alice. And yeah, you would like to add maybe a last comment?
Yeah, just to add something that, as my colleague from Portugal said, that it's not enough. This is my whole issues that I have to say. But for the transgenders and LGBT groups, that community, we have done some services like housing, social housing, for example, or helping them in the employability, because it's very difficult. These are the two main points of problems that LGBT groups community has in Albania, the employability and the housing. So we have helped them with these two issues. Not all of them, not all the community, we have a lot of to do, but step by step we are helping them.
Thank you very much for raising this is also an interconnected issue to other spheres of politics. So today, I think we really heard positive news from our panel that services, youth-friendly services do exist and that they are accessible as well most of the time, but we also heard that they need to be further developed. So I remind everyone to keep in mind these movements, you know, like they are functional, but maybe not as much as we would like them to see. So I urge you to think about further steps, what we could do, and I think there will be possibility to think about this in our interactive sessions that are coming soon now. I see the room is full, that makes me very happy. So I would just like to remind you that you can find your name on the list at the registration desk or on the doors as well when you attend an interactive session. On the first floor, yeah. Interactive sessions are on the first floor, so have a coffee. We have a little break now, or no? Oh no, sorry. We are no coffee. Coffee is after the interactive session. So now just go and find your place, find your room, and make your opinion heard in our interactive sessions. Thank you very much for participating today. Thank you, panelists, for being here and sharing with us.